So, I mean, Zach, I don't even know if you know how you do it, but like, um, how do you take, when shit's going wrong? How do you say, you know what, I'm not going there? Like I always say, don't look back because you're not heading that direction anyway, right? So I don't know. It's a clear gear, and I've complimented you many times over the years on it. Is like something snaps in you where you're one of the rare people that I've known on the golf course that can take anger and turn it into, steely. I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm going to play it.
I can't look back. It's too late now. My days are hours and I don't know how. But I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting.
Welcome, folks, to the 21st edition of the Breakfast Ball. I am your host, Bob Cardia. To my far left, to your far right, the dashing Richie Stoltz. And in the middle today, guys, we have a special treat, a Rutgers Camden Golf celebrity, Mr. Zach Arsenault. And just to give Zach, we call him the Bot, by the way, because his swing is machine-like, Iron Byron-like.
The
machine, the Bot,
That's
yes.
right.
Well, that's the thing. If you watch the USGA uses the Iron Byron to test golf clubs. They don't need that machine. They could just use Zach. But Zach, just so you know, he was first team all conference for us. He was all region for us. His team made the national championships a couple times. He made the finals of the USAM. What year was that, Zach?
2018.
2018, and then come back the following year was an alternate. He missed. He was 7 under on that round.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he probably should have actually made it that year too. But back on the warpath right now. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. You should have corrected me on this. Just if you get anything valuable out of what we're doing, folks. Okay, remember when you're rich and famous, we get 10%. Just saying. Okay.
Gotta add that.
Gotta add that.
We gotta retire.
You gotta retire at some
I'm
point.
getting old.
Yeah.
It's tough out here, man.
Yeah, it is. Life ain't easy.
No.
All right. So, shout out. So I'm thrilled. Zach, Sean Hughes, and Sean Sigel all try to qualify for the. Is it Scotland Run? Correct.
It was at Scotland Run.
Yeah,
Yep.
they all try to qualify for the Gap Mid-Am. 144 players were trying, and 33
33 in ties.
in ties qualified. And guess what? All of our Rutgers guys went in there and all conquered. So they're all going to the finals, which in the finals are going to be
It's mid-May at Commonwealth National.
Commonwealth. Yeah. So world domination. That's what we're going for for Rutgers Camden alumnus. So I'm going to kick off the show with something I think that it's a quote I love, and I know the three of us, the way our mentalities all are, that we have. We're goal setters. We have dreams. We Richie and I meet every Wednesday, and Zach and I talk periodically about life. So the quote I want to throw at you is always remember to fall asleep with a dream and wake up with a purpose. I love it. So I know, we'll talk about Zach with this one, is I love watching Zach practice nowadays because he puts his little launch monitor back behind it. Mm-hmm. And like we talked about Pels, and Richie and I do a lot with Pels. Like, so Richie and I would set up with a camera and we work on 7:30, we work at 9 o'clock, we work on 10:30. But Zach had a laminated card at one point with all his yardages exact, over whatever, a few hundred shots. He'd sit there and put it in a chart form and he'd know exactly what his yardages were. So one of our big shorts lately is the one that said, we could teach JoJo, the dancing bear, to hit golf balls, but he doesn't practice. Mm-hmm. We practice. So I know I didn't mention this to you guys earlier, but I kind of just flipped off my head here. How do you view practice with a purpose? So I'll start, Zach. Why do you practice the way you do? And then Richie, we'll kick it over to you.
I practice the way I do, just so when I go into battle, I call it going into battle.
Yeah,
there's a lot of adversity out there. It's
yes, there
between
is.
you and you know what I mean? So
no doubt.
I just prepare myself, knowing that, I'm going into, a big event, and I obviously want to perform the best I can. So it's take it very, very seriously.
You do. I love. We're going to talk about Zach's intensity a little bit later because some people would say it's
scary.
Yeah, scary or laser-like or
Some people don't like it,
yeah. Well, yeah. You know what?
but I like that.
Yeah, and you know I love it too. So like, some people view it as I don't know, aggressive. You know, and my personal belief is you know, no one's going to give you anything, right? You got to go and get it. So Zach has that mentality of me against the world, which you know what? There's been a lot of great champions that view it that way. And I know Richie, so we're talking, Richie practices a little bit different, but Richie is also a practiceaholic. And yeah, you love that underdog mentality also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say practice, you know, specifically going to the range, that range is huge.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're hitting balls on the range and you're just whacking, kind of like we see 90% of our
Everybody
students
does,
do,
yeah.
it's not getting ready for the golf course. It's not getting ready for a golf tournament. You know, when I'm getting ready for a tournament, I'm behind the golf ball. I'm going through my whole routine.
Yep.
I'm, you know, working on shots. I'm probably going to hit on the course, you know, opposed to just, you know, just full swing over and over and over again. Just, you know, I call it the pull and whack method.
Yeah.
Pull, whack, pull, whack. But
And
you
that's
gotta,
what the average idiot does.
Yeah.
What's that?
They used to say out there.
Oh,
When you
yeah,
do
out
that,
there.
that's a
I
good
get that
one.
all the time. But
where
you
you
know that,
aimed
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that's or the other answer we always get when I walk by somebody, because yeah, I'm inherently a fairly friendly guy. I'll walk by somebody, like, hey, how you hitting them? Oh, I hit them pretty good here, but on the golf course I struggle.
Yeah.
What's your target? Straight. Well, that driving range behind you happens to be 28 acres, sir. Like, that's not, the hole is a little over 3 inches in diameter. Like, every study ever done is aim small, miss small. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So, that said too, like a certain drive. We talked about it last week with the kids. You know, how to get your kids more involved, how to get your kids more interested in staying in golf. I think you need to foster a certain degree of love for the game. I know when we're on the road, for example, like it's funny. You know, there's a strong correlation between, you know, how you view things or even your mentality. The guys that like you know, joking around the bus and fall asleep on the bus and are always laughing and lollygagging, like those guys, I tell you what, when it comes time for the intensity, those are usually the guys that don't have that killer instinct. Now, when we're on the road,
I can guarantee if Zach doesn't play well in a tournament, he's not giggling after the tournament.
I know it. Right?
I can guarantee you if Zach qualifies in the tournament but doesn't play to his potential, he's not giggling at the end of the tournament.
Well, every team needs a Q or a Zach.
Tell me
or,
wrong.
Yeah.
No, I have a funny story. Just a quick one. So
Yeah,
I
go.
was playing in the New Jersey Amateur a couple years ago at Arcola, and my fiance Gloria Campos was actually caddying for me at that time. And
Shout out for Gloria there real quick. She's actually on the men's golf team right now at Rutgers. She's not a
Right.
starter, but she's aspiring. So
shot 93 the other day.
There you go.
Legit.
There
Let's
you
go.
go.
So we're walking up the 10th fairway, and the two players in my group and their two caddies, you know, I typically tend to walk ahead. You know what I mean? Like I'm just
Your own way.
point A to point B.
Yep.
And, you know, the players say to her, it's like, hey, man, like, why isn't he talking to us or anything like that? You know what I mean? Is everything all right? And she says, he's not here to make friends.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Not there to make friends.
So Ben Hogan, like there's another, like, that's Hogan-esque, because Bob Toski, who was the leading money winner of the Champions Tour, senior editor for Golf Digest in the Golf Hall of Fame, he recounted the first time he ever played with Hogan, and like Hogan's a god, and he's sitting on the first tee trying, what do I say to Mr. Hogan? What do I say to Mr. Hogan? And he's sitting there all nervous, and he walks over to Mr. Hogan and he's like, okay, you know what, Mr. Hogan, hi, I'm Bob Toski. It's a pleasure to play with you today. I was just wondering, what do you consider to be the most important shot in golf? Hogan turns to him, shakes his hand, and says, the next one. And that's all he said for 4
Yeah.
hours. He wasn't there to make friends.
So I think it's funny now that I think about it when me and you play, because you know I think we love playing together.
Yeah.
Me and you have
Absolutely.
two completely different personalities
Mhm.
on the golf course.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, I'm a
100%.
little bit more. I feel like lackadaisy,
yeah.
a little goofy out there.
You're a little
like,
bit more country, he's a little more rock and roll.
Yeah, but it's funny because it's, you know, I don't know. You take it so intense. I love it though,
Yeah.
because it, you know, it makes me focus a little bit more at times as well.
Well, I guess it's on the road. So we're on the road, and you know, Zach and I are gym rats, right?
Mhm.
So when we're on, it was always Q. There's some guys work out with us when we're on the road, sometimes, but when I was on the road, I could always count on Q to be in the gym. I could always count on Zach to be in the gym, and I could always count on me to be in the gym. Those were like the three constants. And guess what? If you look at the Mount Rushmore of Rutgers golf, you know, two of the 4 or 5 guys, Richie being one also, you know, were that way. Like their lives were focused, structured. Mm-hmm. I'm here for a reason. Like, you know, I know like in team meetings, Q was great. So we gotta have Q on these days too. Mm-hmm. I gotta reconnect with Q a little bit. Like if we're holding a team meeting and somebody started laughing and giggling, Q's a big man, right? He would just turn around in a deep voice and just say, you know what, coach is speaking, shut the F up.
Yeah.
And you know, I love that. But like that's the kind of mentality you want. I always say I want the kind of guy, figuratively by the way, not literally, that would push their grandmother down the stairs to win. Like that's the kind of guy you want on your team. Figuratively. I don't want anyone pushing your grandmother down. I don't know why you would push your grandmother down the stairs.
Right.
But anyway, so belief system. I say, and you've heard me say it a million times, that Zach has the Tom Brady syndrome. You know, if you ever read Tom Brady's draft preview stuff, you know, he's unathletic. He can't do this. He's scrawny, limited ability, not very strong, not very fast. And Tom Brady got all these reports on himself, and he took that to be, what, I'm going to show you how great I am. Now, most people, when you tell people hey, they're not very good, this, that, you know, they're going, you know what, I'm really not very good. I guess I can't do this, and they crumble. There's a very small percentage of people out there, right, that when you tell them they can't do this, and both of these, two of my all-time favorite people sitting right next to me, right, they both, you know, broken homes, right, first college didn't work out. You guys are floating out there, and we actually struck up friendships, you know, prior to really getting into golf, and you know, at any point they could have gone in a different direction. And there's thousands of stories in the world about people that have you know had tons of talent and ended up being complete failures. You guys, you know, you hold the record for most consecutive victories or number of victories in a season at Rutgers. And you know, Zach holds, I think you just have the low. What was your low? 60 what?
67.
Yeah. So I mean,
so just saying too, I might have the most victories, but you can mention the team that you had. You know, you and who is
Sarlo.
You and Sarlo flipped victories all the time, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know, there was probably a couple tournaments you could have won, a couple extras.
Richie's a great player. I honestly, I think that gets overlooked sometimes. Like, yes, we're talking about me, whatever, but like, Richie's a humble guy. Mm-hmm. Richie is just as good as I am. Okay, just want to say that. Just as good as I am.
They are.
Anyway,
no, they're well. That's why Mount Rushmore. If I, you know, Sarlo's, you know, up there. I mean, there's. I'd probably have to go my Mount Rushmore to 5 or 6 guys, but like, the common thread, like between all of you guys, that, you know, not only my favorites, but the guys are the best. The guys that were willing to learn, were willing to listen. Like both you guys didn't do much Pell stuff until we started together, and the psychology of the game, the segmentation of the game, the approach to the game, like, you know, there's a difference between hitting golf balls and playing golf, and you know, we had plenty of guys, and I always throw my son under the bus on this one, who were talented, but they like to do things their way. They thought it was hilarious to try to blow it over the trees and drive par 4s, and they do it one out every 10 times, but unfortunately, you know, you know, 9 times out of 10 it would rattle off the trees, and you know, they end up taking a double on the hole. I mean, how a kid can have 5-6 birdies in a round and shoot 78, 79 is amazing. But if I ever meet my son, ask him, because he's done that before. Okay? So anyway, Tom Brady syndrome, you know, fueling negativity into positivity. So here's the quote. I'm going to throw this both to you guys. The way to overcome negative thoughts and destructive emotions is to develop an opposing positive emotion that is stronger and more powerful. I see both, and that's actually the Dalai Lama, if you can imagine that I see that in both of you, and I want to hear it from both of you, how you guys have taken adversity and turned it, like, I'll tell one more story about Zach, since Zach is our guest today. 2 or 3 times in the career, where the conference championship is like 3 or 4 holes in, and Zach's struggling. He said, how's the rest of the team doing? And I'm like, well, the rest of the team's playing really well. And he looks at me with that, you know, the very intense gaze. He's like, I got this. Then, and that's all you got to say. And from that point, man, he just freaking drilled down. And then I guess at the U.S. Amateur, because you know, you were at Pebble Beach, and you were like 5 over through 5.
First 5 holes, yeah.
Yeah, and then you were like, you know what the hell's going on? And you ended up just missing the cut by a couple strokes. But you, at one point, the next day at Spyglass, you were like, what, 4 under? And like, you took, like, whatever, if you're 5 over through 5, you're thinking to yourself, you know, you're out of this. You never thought that way. You thought, you know what, I'm here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to fire forward. So you got my quote, guys. We'll fire Richie first, right? But channeling adversity into energy, turning adversity into a strength. Go.
I love my watch this mentality.
You do.
So just, you know, say I'm struggling out there, you know, not playing that well, you know, I'll just look at someone and say, watch this, you know, and I'll try and pull a shot off. And you actually said it the one day we were playing just a casual round over at Little Mill. You probably don't even remember this, but we're playing a casual round at Little Mill, and I think you asked me what I thought the best part of your golf game was. So I answered. And then now I'm curious. You know, I think I might have said, you know, your iron game, your wedge game, you know, whatever it might have been. And then I asked you, I was like, what do you think best part of my game is? You know, you just will the ball into the hole.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Definitely.
So that's a pretty cool answer.
It's great. That's a great answer.
That's a
Tangible.
that's awesome.
Very rare.
You know, he's not telling me I, you know, hit it straight off the tee. He's not telling me, you know, my iron game's great. I put my wedges close. You know, he's just telling me when I have to make a putt, I make a putt.
Yeah.
I'm like, nice. Let's go.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I feel like that's pretty much the watch this mentality. I got to hit a shot, I hit a shot.
Well, we all have people that we know, and there's one guy that you and I have both taught, who has a really good golf swing, right? But like never seems to put the numbers together,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the world is full of talented people, but the people that are successful is you have to be mentally stronger. So, I mean, Zach, I don't even know if you know how you do it, but like, how do you take, you know, when shit's going wrong, how do you say, you know what, I'm not going there? Like I always say, you know, don't look back because you're not heading that direction anyway, right? So, I don't know. It's a clear gear, and I've complimented you many times over the years on it. Is like something snaps in you where you're one of the rare people that I've known on the golf course that can take anger and turn it into, you know, steely. I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm gonna play well. So, again, you might not even know the answer yourself, but how do you do that?
It's going to sound very serious.
Well,
Because just think about it this way. We put a lot of time into this game. So, yeah, it's going to be serious for me. So, I don't know. I just think about all the adversity I've faced in my life intentionally, you know, to be able to motivate myself. Or in the book, it's called Relentless. It's the basically the trainer of Michael Jordan. Talks about his mindset, and I read this after I realized that I do it, but this kind of hit it on the head. Like, you intentionally push your own buttons, so then you can rise to a different level. Yeah, I mean, I think about people that doubted me and tough things that are going on in my life at the time, intentionally to motivate myself, and that's pretty much it. I've always done that with everything in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I know exactly what you mean. It's you know, I think I mentioned it before, but we were talking to Mary's down here earlier, that Barbara Cochran woman on Shark Tank. You know, she said that her top 10 producers were people that were not Harvard educated people. They were the people that were less educated, but it dealt with adversity. And that Lou Holtz quote that I use a lot is, you know, show me somebody that's accomplished something, and I'll show you somebody who's overcome adversity. You know, there are very few cases of people who just win the lottery and become millionaires. You know, and you know, those are the people, you know, God bless them, good luck to them. But like, you know, all of us, you know, actually everybody at this table, I know all of our background stories and the way things have gone in our lives. And guess what? Like, we're stronger for it. you get basically a choice is to let it beat you or to learn from it, and that's kind of where we're at. It's and we're not done. Like I mean, Richie, your goal this year is to
Qualify.
qualify. Yeah,
Qualify.
you're going to be at the U.S. Open qualifying on
May 7th.
May 7th. Okay, that's
May 7th.
running
Looking
deer.
to dominate the world. Yeah.
World domination. I always say that, right? That's my big world domination. Yeah. And then what else you got coming up, Zach? Besides,
I have my U.S. Open qualifier the day before Richie's.
in your North Jersey. Somewhere?
Yeah, it's at a Fairmount Country Club. I was supposed to be at Running Deer, but I have a conflict with the New Jersey State Better Ball with my partner Bo Garino, and I just couldn't make it, so I had to switch sites.
I'll tell a funny story real quick.
Please.
Because I knew Zach was playing at Running Deer, so he sends me a text. He says, "Hey, sorry, man. I can't play at Running Deer. I had something come up. I'm playing elsewhere." In my head, I'm sitting there going, "Sorry, thank you."
Yeah, right. One less got to be.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said sorry.
Well,
It was just funny to me because I'm sitting there going, "It's one less person." I was like, now I'm less worried. I was talking to Sean Sigel and Sean Hughes
are
yesterday.
they both running deer too?
No, I don't know if they're playing it or not, but
Okay.
they said the same thing. I was like, you guys should play, and Sean said, "Oh, Running Deer is my spot, but I don't think I can." Sean Siggs, and I go, "Well, good, don't play. I don't have to beat you."
Exactly.
But I mean, are you like? I know you guys are like me. Like when Q won the Tournament of Champions for Jersey, or you qualified for
Beat
the
me
U.S.
by one.
Open, yeah, he beat you by one. Well, that's what the guy second says. So, oh, sorry. So not gonna be sorry for that. Okay,
That's fine.
So I take an enormous amount of satisfaction to watch, like where our guys go. Like I guess Andrew is now the director of instruction at a golf course, and I think we have 3 or 4 guys that are teaching pros all throughout. I feel like the Bill Parcells of college golf. Jay Bad is the head coach at Gettysburg, and they were
Bob
ranked.
Cardia descendants, from the
Yeah,
Bob
here you go.
Cardia coaching tree.
Crazy.
Like Andy Reid.
It's yeah, it's scary that because I've been doing this now forever. Like I actually gave a tour to a kid from Sentiments a couple days ago, and I think he's coming. Real nice kid, real nice family. But I said, I've been coaching you for 31 years, and the mom kind of looked at me, and I could see she was kind of thinking in her head, and I'm like, yeah, I started when I was 8 years old. That's how why I look so fresh and young. I don't know if she was actually thinking that, but that's kind of the way I felt. So. But it ain't even easy that way in life. Like trying to stay on top of your game. That's a conversation you and I have a lot too. Is like, you can't get the 40 or 50 or whatever age you get to, and expect to stay on top of your game. It's freaking effort, man.
Yeah.
It's effort. So I don't know. Anyway, I love all the guys. I love seeing you guys do well. When's USAM qualifying, by the way?
Sometime in July.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I love to see him make it back to that. That's
It's a perfect storm setup. I mean, the course that the local qualifiers at, they changed the format this year of qualifying. So there's a local qualifier and then, the final stage, just like the U.S. Open. The local qualifier is at Spring Haven, where I shot my career low 64.
Yep.
And then the final stage is at Medford Village, where I'm a member at this year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So I'm basically just
Gotta
marking
work
that
hard.
down.
64. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your low is, please tell us.
Yeah.
61.
61.
All right. Okay.
That's that. Yeah. Well, you know what? World domination,
Hey.
fellas. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
64, 61. All I see is 2 great golfers that can.
that's it, man. And I regardless of whatever happens, you guys should never stop trying. I mean, there aren't, there's people who can play golf and play golf well when there's no pressure on them. The guys that can shoot, 61, 64 in pressure situations are that talent needs to be fostered. That's so, I don't ever give up. But anyway, with all of that said, it's amazing how fast 25 minutes fly by. But did I forget anything? Did I want to?
No, I was going to mention this, and
Yeah,
this
please.
goes back to, my team over at Rutgers.
Yep.
This is just how I felt about some of the guys is when things got tough,
Hmm.
they'd almost show, a side of them as if they didn't care about
Yes.
what,
Yeah.
like, they're not playing well. Oh, I don't actually care anyway.
I
And they kind of just back off their game and let
Yeah.
their score just, plummet on them.
Yeah.
I feel like the good players, when that happens, it's,
They take it personally.
instead of the giving up, it's the, come on, man, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get this back now. Like, what am I doing?
Talk to yourself out there.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 or 3 guys we're thinking about right now. All 3 of us, the same 3 guys.
Love you guys, but
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. It's the Division III golf thing. I think that Division III golf is fascinating, by the way, because
yes.
my brother-in-law, my ex-brother-in-law, who a very dear friend of mine, used to call me Second Chance U. At one point, we entered a D2 tournament with 15 teams. We came in second. We lost by a couple of strokes. We've beaten Division I teams. I mean, our team. I mean, we used to enter tournaments with our A team and our B team, like 18 team events, and twice in a span of 3 years, our B team beat our A team. Like we've shot in the 280s and in the 290s. Like we're all shooting 70. So like that's so when someone says to me, like that defense mechanism you're talking about, well, it's just D3 golf. If you say that to me, you know what? You're in the wrong room, buddy. Like I don't want. If that's your view, why? And I think I did total 1 year. It's like how many thousands of hours you're going to spend with me over 4 years.
Right.
Like I'm a good guy. I got good hair and above average wit. But if you're going to spend thousands of hours with me, I expect you to want to be great.
Yeah.
You don't have to be great to start, but at some point you have to start to be great. Anyway, so if you get any nuggets out of this show today, right? Okay. Remember, 10% when you're rich and famous. If you like what we're doing, click the bottom. If you want any of our merchandise, you can go to the web. I'm Bob Cardia. This is
The Dashing Richie Stoltz.
Zach Arsenault.
Zach
Thanks,
Arsenault.
thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's been too long.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's you have over 100,000
We're
views
like
in
100
4 countries.
No, I think we're 7 now. I think right. We're
What,
seven
countries we're in.
It spreads around a bunch of different countries. There's more than
Unbelievable.
7. You
I
look
can't-
at the stats and it's...
Yeah, there's a guy
You
in
know.
India watching this right now.
If you guys are watching this, if there's any people out there that want to fund Richie's journey or my journey to try and go pro,
Go right ahead, right?
give you more than 10%. Tell you
Yeah,
that much.
yeah.
So serious.
Yeah, sponsors, baby. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, and you can contact if that's something you want to do. You can always contact South Jersey Golf Schools. Mary back there, on the other side of the fence. Hey, Mary.
Hey.
Yeah. So when you send emails to South Jersey Golf Schools, Mary picks them off. So if you have any interest in maybe
Get on the ground floor. I mean,
investing, get on the ground floor, right?
Got some extra cash lying around. Market's tough. Real estate's tough.
Right.
No.
Well, we started before this entire show started. People asked me if I gamble. I said I do gamble, but the only thing I bet on is myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, bang. All right, folks. See you next time.
Glass of bourbon, ha ha. My bourbon, ha ha. My bourbon, ha ha. Alcohol. Because no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.